If you're experiencing a niggling level of dissatisfaction with your life, or indeed if you've just come through a time of immense adversity and you're feeling wiped by it all, you possibly have at some stage tried to find some sort of short term solution in order to take you out of that place of frustration, pain, sadness, feeling like a failure, feeling like as if you don't know what direction your life is going in. And anytime we look for a quick fix when it comes to our mental, emotional, and spiritual health, the likelihood is that we are selling ourselves short, because ultimately the practices that you need to put in place in order to ensure that your life is going in the direction that you would like it to generally are long-term practices. They take discipline, they take commitment, and they often involve making difficult choices. They're not always the easy option. And again, we're always looking for easy street. We're always looking for guaranteed solutions. And unfortunately, life doesn't come with those. We're also very quick to want to escape our problems. We want to avoid having to deal with them. We don't want to have to engage with the emotional content of them. And unfortunately, all this does is it prolongs the issue, because we carry the emotions with us in our body as opposed to working with them and releasing them. So it's about having a willingness to be very present with what it is that's going on for you, and then looking at ways and things that you can apply in your life that are going to make things considerably better. Now, one of the first things I look at is self-awareness, and that's basically helping people recognize what is driving their thoughts and behaviors. And that's your emotions, that's your bodily sensations, that's your conditioning, that's your past experiences, that's the constructs that you have in your mind and your expectations. And again, we like to think we can control all of that, but very rarely are we in control of it. It tends to have literally a mind of its own. However, the more in touch we are with the emotional drives, the more likely we are to be able to recognize the resulting thoughts and to work with them compassionately. Now, I'm going to look as well at connection. I mean, we tend to assume that we have to fix everything ourselves. We tend to assume that we're self-sufficient and that we need to be independent, and that we need to do everything by ourselves. But we are a pack animal. We need connection more than anything else. It's how we thrive. And yet these days we spend all of our time comparing ourselves to other people. It's so competitive, as opposed to creating a sense of joy in the connections that we share with others, reaching out with others, being really vulnerable, being authentic, showing up as we are, because ultimately we all have the same problems, we all have the weird thoughts, we all have the weird impulses, but we like to think that we're the only one, and that leaves us feeling very isolated. And again, the stronger your relationships, the better your life is going to be. We have to find a way of being creative. I mean, the more we can tap into things that make us come alive, things that make us feel like as if we're just losing track of time, the happier we are going to feel, the more satisfied with our lives we're going to feel. And it's eudaimonic happiness. It's not the hedonic happiness that you get from quick fixes and pleasure. It's a really meaningful, satisfactory sense of, oh my God, I actually have a skill. I have something to contribute to the world. And it just makes you feel so wonderful, And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be whether you're training, it can be cooking, it can be the work that you do, it can be reading, writing, whatever it is that makes you just feel like as if you're engaging with your gifts, your talents, your ingenuity, your inner guru, and kind of coming up with ideas, being curious about what it is that you can potentially achieve in life, getting in touch with all of the childlike impulses that we have to play and to have fun. I mean, it's so important. And again, we're very much all about the commercial side of things and making money, and we forget about how important it is to allow our true capacity and our true creativity to come through. Now, curiosity is another big one, and it's very similar to self-awareness, because we do need to apply curiosity to ourselves, but we also need to apply curiosity with other people. I mean, we tend to assume that we know the people closest to us, and again, this really impacts on our capacity to connect with them. We know people at a very superficial level, and I think social media and our phones haven't really helped us here, because we really should apply a curiosity, particularly with the people that we know best. I mean, every single day you could learn something new about yourself, you could learn something new about your partners, but we don't really ask the questions. We don't show curiosity to our lives. We don't show curiosity about how the world works or what it is. We just accept everything. We just look to Google and just assume, okay, that's it, as opposed to having any sense of awe or having any sense of wonderment. And we really need to kind of come back into that place of, how does that happen? Why does that happen? Would I like something different to happen? What does this mean to me? And these questions keep us focused on who it is that we are and who it is that we'd like to be, what our values are, what our core beliefs are, and who are the people that we're spending time with. It's all about kind of gaining knowledge and keeping the mind fresh and learning and being open to new information, because a closed mind will get you nowhere in this life. We tend to assume that we know so much, and yet the reality is we know very little about what's actually important. The more we think we know, generally the more ignorant we are. And it's kind of letting go of the knowledge that doesn't really serve us, and instead seeking out that which is going to, I suppose, enriching our lives, as opposed to just filling ourselves up with a lot of kind of content on our phones that really isn't all that beneficial to us. Compassion is a big one as well. Compassion for ourselves, compassion for other people. I mean, when we're accepting our experience as it is, we need to be really compassionate with ourselves, because nobody likes to feel pain. It's not a place that we want to stagnate in, but we have to be in it to move through it, And it's about being very kind to the self, recognizing that you may have a certain level of accountability in where you're at, and taking responsibility and ownership for that, but also being very kind to the inner child, recognizing when you're in pain and taking time to soothe yourself and to help yourself. Same with other people. I mean, the kinder we are to other people, the healthier we feel. And that's a general rule of thumb. We have to recognize that it's not all about us. And I mean, a lot of the focus in, I suppose, particularly holistic circles and mental health circles and emotional health circles and wellness circles have focused on, it's all about me. And that's fantastic. But it's all about me in order to be a better person for others. It doesn't just stop with yourself. So it's about recognizing ways in which you can be a better person, so that you can contribute to other people, so that you can give. And the more you give, the less you're going to be in your head, the less you're going to be creating problems for yourself that didn't exist to begin with. Because again, the more time that we spend mulling things over, it's like a problem factory up there, because literally we feel like as if we can control everything with our thoughts if we keep them rattling around our brains, and all we're doing is keeping ourselves in this state of anxiety and negative energy. And it's discerning what is helpful reflection and what is just rumination. And if you can manage to discriminate between the two, you're well on the way to thinking differently. Because again, the more you can move out of the unhelpful thinking and learn how to apply constructive thinking, that will help you become a better person for yourself, for other people, and help you get in touch with your felt sense and fully recognize where the thoughts are coming from. What's the feeling that is driving those? How can I bring myself back into my body, out of the craziness of the thoughts, so that I'm not in pain all the time? I hope you find this video helpful. If there's anything specific you'd like me to talk about, feel free to get in touch.